Many California locals are just tired of all the deterioration and the continued decline in quality of life. The state heads into a critical election year. Governor Gavin Newsom has ramped up efforts to address the state's homelessness crisis, making it a central issue in his administration's agenda. A significant part of this strategy involves the removal of homeless encampments in major cities like San Francisco, where the visibility of tents on city streets has become a symbol of the broader crisis. Despite these aggressive sweeps, the challenge persists, as tents often return to public spaces shortly after they are removed, underscoring the inadequacy of enforcement without long-term solutions. To address these limitations, Newsom has introduced initiatives such as providing tiny homes as temporary housing options and offering bus tickets to relocate homeless individuals to other areas, either within California or out of state, where they might have better access to resources or family support.
However, these measures have been met with mixed reactions.
While tiny homes offer a more immediate shelter solution, critics argue that they are a stopgap measure that does not address the underlying issues of affordable housing and mental health services.
Instead of addressing the decades of systemic neglect that have led to this massive homelessness crisis, we see the governor attempting to shift the blame onto the shoulders of homeless people themselves. They really have no choice but to be out there. There's certainly nowhere near enough housing units that are affordable and nowhere near enough shelter beds that are affordable. And sometimes the cities address these encampments the right way, but a lot of times they do it in an incredibly inhumane and traumatizing manner.
Similarly, the provision of bus tickets has been controversial, with some seeing it as merely relocating the problem rather than solving it. Compounding these challenges is the fact that some cities across California are not fully complying with Newsom's directives. This non-compliance has led to an uneven implementation of the state's homelessness strategy, making it difficult to achieve the comprehensive and coordinated approach that Newsom envisions.
LA Mayor Karen Bass opposes Newsom's executive order, saying removing makeshift shelters criminalizes the homeless without fixing the issue.
No one wants to see criminalization. That's a lazy framework.
The governor now implying cities and counties that resist the new executive order could lose state funding.
Folks may choose not to do anything differently. Here's what I get to decide. And it's a preview. It's just an expectation. If that's the result, I'm going to redirect the money. It's not complicated.
As the election looms, the effectiveness of Newsom's approach to homelessness is under intense scrutiny. The situation in San Francisco, where tents reappear almost as quickly as they are removed, highlights the need for more sustainable and integrated solutions.
As soon as the cops go, they'll be back in the next day. Where do they got to go? I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Ramsey works at a salon across from the encampment. He says people return after each removal.
What good is doing that if there's no solution long-term for these individuals? How can you, be more aggressive, but also be aggressive in having a sustainable system, you know?
At nearby Folsom Street, between 18th and 19th Streets, these people tell me the city had cleared their tents several days ago.
It's what happens. I've been watching this happen for a long time. I've been living here for over 40 years.
Same situation on Willow Street in the Tenderloin. City workers offered shelter and removed tents multiple times last week. Police even made one arrest. But this is how it looks now. A few tents and a lot of people, some doing drugs.
They definitely have been ramping up I would say the consistency of it and the time frames.
Anthony Sliker is unhoused. We found him at the corner of Willow and Larkin Streets.
Not everybody wants help, man. Not everybody does. It's sad. Some people just aren't ready.
He says he declined the shelter that was offered to him before because it feels like jail. Others say they want apartments, not rooms where they have to share with strangers.
Not just the drug issue, but there's a lot of mental issues out here.
Neighbors say a permanent fix will require more housing, caseworkers, and ultimately a lot more money that the city may not have.
All the candidates are talking about what they want to do about homeless, but of course nobody has a way to figure out how to get more places for these folks to go.
Ramsey says he appreciates the city for stepping up their efforts, but he wants a long-term fix.
Have a full-fledged solution. Don't just do things just to try to get reelected. And then, boom, once you're elected, things drop again. People don't want to see that, you know what I'm saying?
The introduction of tiny homes and bus tickets really reflects an attempt to innovate within a complex problem. But the ongoing resistance from some cities and the cyclical nature of encampment removals suggest that these efforts alone may not be enough.
We begin the hour with a chaotic meeting in Lemon Grove over plans to build dozens of sleeping cabins for the homeless. Hundreds of people turned out for this meeting, forcing organizers to change the venue.
Supervisor Monica Montgomery Stepp attempting to address one of the communities she represents in Lemon Grove, where the county wants to build 70 sleeping cabins.
Supervisors unanimously voted to move forward with the sleeping cabin site on Troy Street.
Her office organized a community outreach forum that so many people wanted to attend, the original venue overflowed.
We're not leaving. No.
Hundreds made their way across the street to a recreation center where Montgomery Stepp could hardly get a word in.
And
The proposed sleeping cabins would be located on a vacant lot near Troy Street and Sweetwater Road and house up to 140 people.
24-hour site management and security services, case management, including behavioral health supports.
Those living closest to the site feel blindsided.
I don't think this has been well thought out. You know, it's not a safe place to put people that are already compromised.
Misinformation. Nobody said nothing about this. It seems like they're trying to sneak it in.
Just this week, the state pulled $10 million in funding because the county didn't have a solid plan in place for the tiny homes. One day later, a plan was finalized and approved by supervisors for the Lemon Grove site.
It's like a last-ditch effort because they lost the state funding for the other site here in Spring Valley.
Locals have questioned why approval landed before the forum ever took place. Montgomery Stepp's team said in the last 2 weeks they canvassed about 170 homes and received more than 450 responses to a survey linked on these flyers about the sleeping cabins.
Now, residents also voiced concerns about the dangerous road, no sidewalks, and the general lack of infrastructure at this new Lemon Grove location. We did plan to speak with Supervisor Montgomery Stepp after this meeting, but she did end up declining, instead prioritizing time speaking with constituents outside the meeting. So we were not able to clarify when there will be another opportunity for people to weigh in on this, and as well, if this is really a done deal.
How Newsom navigates these challenges in the coming months could significantly impact both his political future and the broader direction of California's approach to homelessness.